Smiley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Tuesday, February 6th. Okay, so today we do have the moon in Sag going void, of course, at 7 minutes after midnight. We'll be locking into the Capricorn energy, 7:10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so let's talk about the transition from Sag energy to Capricorn energy. First of all, the Sag energy is a mutable fire sign. So this is why we've been scatterbrained, why we've been jumping from one thing to the next, why we've been doing lots but not accomplishing anything, because it's a very unfocused energy. Yes, optimism, confidence building, for sure. We're standing in a new truth, for sure. We have a new mission, new purpose, for sure. We're starting to see the bigger, broader picture, for sure, in this Sag energy. Problem is that it's over exaggerated. We're dreaming too big of a dream. Our heads are too in the clouds, so to speak. The Capricorn energy, the transition definitely feels very heavy. It feels like we hit a brick wall because, of course, we're shifting into cardinal earth energy. Cardinal energy is being presented with information, with details that is kind of putting us in a situation to realize that major changes actually need to take place. That cardinal energy is very initiating after being presented with information and details that suggest that the course in which we've been walking is no longer favorable. Some adjustments, some changes are needed. They need to be made in order for us to kind of see the long-term vision, the long-term goal from a more realistic standpoint. Okay, so the Capricorn energy does feel like a brick wall when we first enter into it because there is tunnel vision that is needed in the Capricorn energy in order to figure out what's on our to-do list. What do we have to wrap up? What loose ends do we have to tie up before we can get started, focused on this present moment, on building towards the future? The Capricorn energy is very, I'm going to call it heavy, weighted with roles, with responsibilities. We definitely feel the pressure of the outside world really kind of putting us in a situation to figure our shit out. It is the manifesting energy of the zodiac as well, which means that we have to be very careful that the dominant negative Nancy Debbie Downer type of mood and attitude doesn't really get the best of us. We don't want to manifest out of that energy. We want to understand that, again, we have the ability to rise up, rise above, take power, take control back in our lives, and definitely focus on the elements in which we want more of. So there's definitely a lot going on. Again, Mercury just shifted into this Aquarius energy here yesterday. If you need to go ahead, take a listen to that energy forecast, I'm going to recommend you do so. This is definitely going to open up our mind. Again, Mercury in this Aquarius energy, higher level intellect, lower level intellect, now working together. Emotionally speaking, we're going to remove as much emotion as we possibly can with the moon in Capricorn energy, because there is no room for crying when we are trying to get down to the nitty-gritty, down to the business plans of our lives. We have to figure out what's going on. We have to figure out what we have to let go of. We have to figure out what we have to build. And there's no clarity when we're all up in our feels. So it's definitely a boss up type of energy, which can feel very pressurized, very down in the dumps if you're not prepared to rise to the challenge. But over the course of the next few days, of course, we will be moving into that dark phase of the moon, preparing for that new moon in Aquarius energy here on the 9th. So this is very much going to be the quote unquote breakdown before the quote unquote breakthrough that the new moon in Aquarius energy will be bringing to us. So with that being said, there are 10 different aspects taking place here today. 7 of them are going to involve the moon. So the moon still in Sag energy, going to get in the boxing ring, fight it out, square off with Neptune. Neptune, of course, in his place of power in this Pisces energy, ruling over our dreams, our intuition, our spirituality, our creativity. This is a battle royale, if you will, between having hopes, wishes, and dreams and receiving intuitive insights. What a lot of people kind of get confused about is that a lot of the vision, the goals, the dreams that we're conjuring up is coming from our egoic self. We're taking a good look around at our physical realm, the evidence, the proof, if you will, of where it is that we're at. We're trying to manifest a situation out of the limiting concepts, limiting beliefs, limiting structures of our present moment here and now. The dreaminess, the over-exaggerated perception of what is possible is definitely conflicting with the higher intuitive self. And that's where the Neptune and Pisces energy comes from. So we're overwhelmed, we're overstimulated. There is this battle royale going on within us, and the square is illuminating the tension and the conflict between emotionally being optimistic and positive and confident that we have what it takes in order to create and manifest the vision, the goal, the dream. However, because we are trying to kind of discern whether or not we're building a vision, a goal, a dream out of ego, or whether we're trying to align with our higher selves, we're overwhelmed, we're overstimulated, we're super sensitive, our spidey senses are tingling. We feel everything, but yet feel nothing at the same time. That's that paradoxical type of conflicting energy that we get from the Pisces energy. Now, because this is a negative aspect, so to speak, creating tension and conflict in order for there to be an aha moment for growth, healing, and repairment, we are definitely on the side of wanting to detach, wanting to curl up in a ball, wanting to check out and just not deal with reality as it is, and instead live in la la land as long as we possibly can. Now, that is going to be a harsh position to be in when the moon shifts into Capricorn energy, because the Capricorn energy brings us a reality check that brings us back down to earth. So this is the last aspect that the moon in Sag makes before going void, of course. And again, we lock into the Capricorn energy, 7:10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. About an hour later, we have the moon in Capricorn energy now, making a positive interaction with Pluto, the great transformer, who is in this Aquarius energy. Of course, it wasn't that long ago that Pluto was in the Capricorn energy, all of us getting a little bit of relief because of this releasing energy, this releasing point. Again, reminder, the Capricorn energy illuminates the problems in the structures and the foundation of our lives, the elements that are in our materialistic realm. The Aquarius energy is going to kind of liberate us, free us from those particular problems, from those particular issues. So the moon interacting with Pluto, first of all, huge intensity, always is with Mr. Pluto. This is a positive interaction, which means that we are essentially bossing up into a new level of power and authority over our emotions, especially in order for us to see the bigger picture, the bigger option available to us now that the Aquarius energy is painting a visionary picture on how it is that we're going to break free from some of the aspects and elements that our old ego selves had built in our reality that are no longer jiving with us, no longer in alignment with us. And this particular energy is pushing us into a new emotional power and discipline that we're going to need to have in order to clean up the past, anchor into the present moment, and start building towards the future. So Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money in Capricorn energy, again, taking a very business-minded approach to her emotions, to her affections, to the change of heart in which she has just had. Venus is getting into the boxing ring, squaring off with the North Node in Aries energy. And again, reminder, North Node in Aries energy, trying to get us on the right path to reach our next goal, our next mission, which is becoming a little bit more independent, shaking off those codependent relationship dynamics, really anchoring into our own energies, figuring out who it is that we are without these attachments. So a square doesn't feel good. It's going to highlight tension and conflict. And right now, the tension and conflict is being illuminated in our physical realm, in our heart space, due to the relationship dynamic landscape that is forever changing. This is going to illuminate for us where it is that we're just not on the same page with some of the most important people in our lives, where there is a lack of agreement, lack of cooperation, lack of conversation, lack of basic just happiness, pleasure, joy, stability. We are starting to understand where it is that we're very unhappy, very discontent with certain elements of our relationship dynamics. We are also, many of us, having an awakening, realizing that a lot of the relationship dynamics that we're currently in, very counterproductive for our own personal growth, realizing where certain people that we love, that we value, that we want to keep around in our lives, definitely blocking us from reaching the next level of our mission, of our purpose, of our goals. And so when you have such a huge aha moment that the people that we have, surrounded ourselves with now kind of look a little bit more like a prison than than, freedom, if you will, that is a very startling thing. Now we have to figure out whether we're able to maintain these relationship dynamics at all by still pushing ourselves into the personal growth that we need to be doing for our own self, our own mission, our own purpose. Without them, those people, getting in our way, holding us back, blocking us from doing what it is that we have to do within ourselves. So this is going to be a very challenging awareness, and it's going to put us in a situation where we feel the pressure to make a decision, either to cut people off or create distance or try something new, whatever the case may be. Let me just say to you, this is not the time to make those types of decisions. We're going to have to hold off. We're just being illuminated to what isn't working right now as we approach the dark phase of the moon. We do not want to take action and make moves at this particular point in the lunar cycle. This is a time for rest, time for healing, time for repairment, time for observation, time for adjustments in our inner realm. After we have the new moon and we have these aha moments, we have these unexpected events that are going to shake things up and wake things up, we will have a totally different perspective. And at that time, we will know when is appropriate to make these particular life-changing decisions. Okay, so the moon in Capricorn going to make a positive interaction with Mercury. Mercury rules over the mental plane, rules over information, communication, how it is that we express ourselves, fresh in this Aquarius energy. We love this. First of all, we are in agreement. Now, we might not be on the total same page. There's still some details that we kind of have to weed out between our heart and our head. However, emotionally speaking, we're very grounded, we're very weighted, we're very anchored into the present moment. We're seeing things as they are, not for the way that we wish that they would be. Mercury, on the other hand, in this Aquarius energy, allowing the higher mind and the lower mind to work together, this is putting us in a perspective where there's a lot of mental processing going on about the changes that are taking place mostly in our inner realm, to our heart space, to our head space, seeing different options, seeing where things aren't working in order for us to move into the mind space, Mercury, to figure out where we can think outside of the box, free ourselves, liberate ourselves from a lot of the darker structures, the confines, the restrictions, the problematic areas that we've now identified need to change somehow in order for us to break free from some of the situations and circumstances that we find ourselves in. How are we going to get out of it? How do we move forward? These are the aspects that are going to help bring clarity. So our heart and our head definitely in a conversation, brainstorming, building a plan, a path, a strategy on how it is that we're going to kind of close the door on the old and open up a new door to the new. We have the moon in Capricorn semi-squaring the sun in Aquarius energy. And so a semi-square doesn't feel good. It's a little bit of tension, a little bit of conflict, not as big as a square, but enough. And anytime that we have the moon and the sun interacting in any kind of way, there's an aha moment that is about to be revealed. There's a new emotional awareness, so to speak. And so the moon being in this Capricorn energy, we're thinking about our lives in the long-term situation and scenario, understanding what it is in the present moment we can't continue, what we don't want to see kind of grow with us into this new chapter. The sun shining a bright light in this Aquarius energy, where it is that we could do better, what we can improve on, what we could try, new methods, new ways of talking, new ways of acting, new ways of just implementing new routines, schedules, and structures in order to create a different outcome. Regardless, this tension, this conflict is going to be illuminated in such a way where we're going to have a shift in our mood, our attitude, our awareness. We're like, oh, okay, gotcha. This doesn't feel good. I have to fix it. I don't want it to be around for the long term. How can I improve on it? How can I do things differently? How can I make it better? Now, this isn't necessarily providing us the clarity that we would like to have in the moment, but it is illuminating to us what it is that has to change, what we have to transform ASAP before we can get kind of started building towards the new. The moon in Capricorn then going to make an awkward interaction with Uranus, the great awakener, who's in this Taurus energy. And so this is going to be a jolt to our central nervous system. This is where anxiety is going to pick up. Again, anxiety is just unfocused energy. Give it a focus. Spin it. Right? I'm going to give you this because I used it with a client and it was very well received. So let's talk about neurolinguistics, flipping the script, so to speak. When you identify anxiety in the body, understand that it is unfocused energy. Instead of saying, oh, I'm in a state of paralysis because I have anxiety. No, we're going to flip that script and say, you know what? I'm building up in the energy, the fuel, the power source needed in order to make a great change in my life, to rebuild my reality. And so when we kind of change our perspective and we start changing the labels that many of us would often just fall into and say, oh, I'm having, a surge of energy move through my body. This must be anxiety. Instead of it being a negative thing, let's give it a job. Let's give it a focus. Let's label it something different. Let's understand that that is our physical body filling up with the energy needed in order to engage the mind, the body, the soul, to go out into the world and tackle the areas of our lives that aren't so happy, aren't so great, that's making us very uneasy. Again, this is the fuel, the power source needed in order to make great change. So the moon interacting with Uranus, definitely not bringing in the kind of clarity, the kind of insight in which we were hoping for, but we are gaining a different perspective, a different angle on what in our physical realm needs to change first and foremost. The sun in Aquarius energy going to sextile, beautiful interaction with the North Node in Aries energy. First of all, this is a great vibe, especially coming out of a little bit of funkiness here earlier in the day. We are now seeing where it is that we have to boss up. We have to identify our goals, identify the vision, the dream, the target, and we need to boss up emotionally and mentally to rise to the challenge that is now knocking on our door. Opportunity knocks on our door, but mostly the challenge knocks first. And then we open the door. The challenge is like, hey, here's what you need to do in order to get this. And then standing behind Mr. Challenge, of course, is the opportunity for growth, for abundance, for happiness, for stability, for joy. So in order for us to not only get our asses up and answer the door, we first have to pass a test, a challenge, so to speak, before we're going to receive that opportunity. And so we're at this particular point where we have to really get out of this whiny victimhood mentality type of shit. We have to rise up. There is certain events about to take place in our very, very close future that's going to really require you to be at your strongest self. And so to face your fears, your doubts, your insecurities within your own damn self by examining the life that you created and recognizing where it is that maybe most of that life was constructed out of your egoic wounds instead of your higher self, that is going to be very illuminating on where it is that you have to level up into a new level of authority within yourself. And this, again, we're talking Capricorn energy, we're talking Aquarius energy, we're talking Aries energy here. The moon in Capricorn wants nothing more than for us to be our best boss selves. The Aquarius energy is asking for us to be better, to do better, to improve in order for us to have a different outcome, a different result than some of the situations and circumstances that we all find ourselves in that we're not so happy with. That Aries energy is the initiator energy. We need to bust away. We need to be by ourselves. We need to be independent. We need to know who it is that we are without the influence, the opinions, the attachments of the people that we have chosen to, share life with. And so this doesn't really promote the whiny, crying mood and attitude that many people are in right now. This is an opportunity to boss up. This is an opportunity to figure out how we can be independent while still being a part of something greater, and how it is that we can actually start pursuing our own mission, our own dreams, our own vision, our own goals without feeling like we are abandoning the vision, the goals, the dreams that we have created with other people. There is a balance. And again, North Node in Aries, South Node in Libra. We have to balance the time, the energy, the power, the commitment that we've given to other people, and where it is that we've done that disservice to ourselves, and we have to kind of balance those scales in order to put our own wants, needs, and desires, if not equally to the wants, needs, and desires of the partnership, the group, the team, whatever the case may be, then a little bit more than that. Because again, our own soul contracts, our own missions are very, very important. And if we're not pursuing what it is that we have to be doing for ourselves, then we're really, really putting ourselves at a disadvantage. So Saturn, the Lord of Karma, is going to be making a positive interaction with Uranus, the Great Awakener. Now, Saturn, he rules over like roles, responsibilities, system structures, foundations, willpower, discipline. He's in Pisces energy, so this has a lot to do with removing the delusional beliefs in order to anchor into something true, really kind of unlearning a lot of the things that we've been too anchored into, which is a lot of delusion, a lot of falsehood. Uranus over here, the Great Awakener, of course, in Taurus energy is looking to kind of flip tables in our physical realm, where it is that we're overly attached, even carrying fear about making some of the changes in our physical realm. Saturn and Uranus coming together in this way, first of all, is the number one of 3 different times that these two are going to come together and make an aspect. Now, when major planets make these types of aspects, this is kind of like them entering into a new agreement, so to speak. And so this is the first of 3. We'll have another one in September and then the third in November. But basically, this is pushing us to balance the old and the new, to balance what we're letting go of in order to kind of grab onto something new. And is it going to feel good? No, because people have major attachments to what it is that they've already built, what it is that they've already created, what it is that they've already invested their time, energy, and space in. But we're looking to improve. We're looking to do better. We're looking to create something a little bit more happy, a little bit more safe and secure in our lives. We do have a lot of stability anchoring us because Uranus, of course, in Taurus energy is the physical realm. So we are anchored, we are grounded into a certain situation. And again, Taurus energy being a fixed earth sign, not so happy with a lot of change, right? We're resistant to change, even though we know that we have to make it. Nonetheless, we have this anchor point. The Pisces energy is a little bit more fluid. Again, the back and forth, the crashing of the waves, so to speak. But we have to get in a better mind frame to understand that we are coming to a point that is going to require us to boss up, make some major changes in our lives. That's why we're going through the discontentment, the uncomfortability now in ourselves, because we got to get the vision right. We got to get the understanding right. And so this particular energy is asking for us to be grounded and anchored into the present moment, feeling all the feels, understanding that we have to be calm, cool, and collected, especially in the face of the changes that we're very, very nervous of making. Sometimes you have to do things scared as F, okay? That is definitely going to be the theme moving forward here in the next couple of weeks. So this is kind of like priming us to understand where it is that we are kind of moving on from the old world, the old version of self, the old energies, and where it is that we are starting to build towards the new and striking a balance between the two, being grounded and anchored in our physical bodies, in our mind, in our emotions, so that we're not living in Delulu land and we can actually see what needs to stay and what needs to go. Shortly thereafter, the moon in this Capricorn energy going to sextile, beautiful interaction with Saturn. Saturn rules over the Capricorn energy. Saturn is in Pisces energy, but rules over the Capricorn energy that the moon is currently in. A sextile is a beautiful interaction. It's harmonizing. It's promoting growth, promoting where it is that we're healing, promoting where it is that we're making changes and adjustments. And right now, we are feeling fully confident that we're able to boss up into the roles and responsibilities that we now have to boss up into in order to create the reverberatory effect, the change needed in our physical realms and our physical lives in order to collapse the bridge of the past that got us here to this present moment so that we don't go back to some of the things that we fought very hard to get away from. And we can now start focusing on the, let's call it building plans of the structure of the bridge that we now have to build to get us from where it is that we're at to where it is that we desire to be. This is about long-term plans and understanding where it is that we have to build ourselves up in belief and confidence and optimism so that we feel well equipped, well prepared to do what has to be done. Ultimately, that's where it's at. We have to get shit done. So the last thing that we have going on here today is the moon in this Capricorn energy trining beautiful interaction with Jupiter, the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings. In this Taurus energy, this is what gives us our trine. Earth energy, the moon in Capricorn. Earth energy, the Taurus energy that Jupiter is in. Earth on earth energy. So what happens with earth on earth? Well, this is a trine, so we're realizing where it is that in our present moment, Taurus energy, things aren't so happy, things aren't so great, where we would like to kind of grow, where we would like to kind of get out of this rut. Again, Jupiter pushing the boundaries of our comfort zone. And what we can do in this present moment, again, Taurus energy, in order to set us up for our long-term vision, our long-term goals, Capricorn energy. So emotionally speaking, we're building ourselves up. We're building ourselves up in self-worth. We are recognizing what we want, what we need, what we desire, what we deserve. We are recognizing where it is that we have to adopt a little bit more positive, confident, optimistic points of view, which sometimes is very hard with the moon in Capricorn energy. But nonetheless, this is a beautiful interaction, definitely going to bring us a nice little cap off of the day and put us in the emotional realm to see where it is that we're being challenged to boss up, to grow, to evolve, to change, and to transform.